Hello and welcome to Tehmeena Rizvi Podcast. We have here with us a very interesting guest, Zahack Tanivir, who is a Saudi-based Indian, founder and director of the Milli Chronicle media. He writes for First Post, News 18, Daily Middle East, and other newspapers. He was also part of G20's youth engagement group Y20, held in Jammu and Kashmir this year in April. Welcome to my show.
First of all, I'm really thankful to you, Tehmeena ji, that you have invited me and you're hosting such an amazing show. And I definitely look forward to have beneficial discussion.
Thank you. So my first question, since you're a geopolitical analyst, my first question to you is, what does recently held G20 meeting mean for the rest of the world in terms of geopolitics?
Let me admit this without any flattery, that G20 has indeed brought the sense of pride in all Indians living worldwide. I mean, the people like me with the Indian origin, living abroad, living in Saudi Arabia, sometimes I travel to US. So I really feel, the sense of pride of being an Indian and being a part of a country, to be a part of a nation that is witnessing an extraordinary shift. And G20 was not just a normal or ordinary event. It was not just a regular event. It indeed exhibited the prowess of the Indian identity. And this was one of the extraordinary events, and in which India reached a consensus, and nobody from the member states had a problem, and they all agreed instantly. So this shows the negotiating skills of India, the negotiating power of India, and the ability to bring the world powers, to the table, and the amazing skills of persuasion and presentation to make everybody on the table agree to what India has to offer. Having said that, in terms of geopolitical relationships, India hit the diplomatic masterstroke, I would say, and it emerged as a key player in the region. And indeed, I'd like to quote Shashank Matu, and I was reading one of his tweets, and he chalked down the achievements India had during G20. The first thing which India achieved was the consensus on Ukraine. The Western members of G20, they were expecting that India would condemn Russia, and Russia was trying to avoid the discussions in Ukraine, but India managed to broker a compromise, resulting in a joint declaration that toned down criticism of Russia. So this ability to achieve consensus on this contentious topic, the bone of contention between the West and the Russia. So to achieve the consensus on this topic was crucial for India's reputation as the summit host, and it also demonstrates India's sovereign image. The second thing is that India's ability to give full membership to the African Union, and it shows its ability to be the leader of the Global South. And indeed, and I'm very happy about it, that India is leading the Global South. And we need to also keep this in mind. This is very important. We need to also keep this in mind, that the African Union has a majority of Muslims. So it would be inappropriate to say that the Modi government hates Muslims. This is a very, I would say this is information warfare which India is facing right now. It says that Modi government hates Muslims. This is not true. Indeed, PM Modi invited Nigeria, Bangladesh, UAE, and these countries were not the members of G20, but yet they were invited. It shows PM Modi's outreach to the Muslim world. And the third thing was India's successful advocacy for the economic reforms and debt relief to support the developing countries like Ghana, Zambia, Ethiopia. And by the way, majority of these countries are the Muslim majority countries. It shows India's commitment of being to the well-being of the fellow developing nations. And the fourth thing is that India made significant strides in technology during G20. India demonstrated the use of UPI and the Aadhaar and how financial frauds can be contained. And I would definitely feel proud about this, that when I visit India, I hardly use cash. And I was recently watching a video where the German diplomat was in a vegetable market, and he was purchasing the vegetables and using the UPI method. So when a Modi government did this demonetization stuff, so everybody was skeptic about it, people were criticizing it, but I personally believe that it gave rise to a new phenomenon called as UPI. And finally, the fifth thing which India achieved was commitment to combating climate change. And India led the launch of the Global Biofuel Alliance, aiming to increase ethanol blending in petrol up to 20%. Anyways, what I mean to say that these achievements during G20 not only reinforce India's diplomatic reputation, but also contributes to its image as a key global player working towards a more inclusive and sustainable future.
Okay, since we were talking about things which were discussed in G20 meeting, can you please brief our viewers more on India?
The economic corridor is something which is an unprecedented move that will bolster India's economy and the global image. The corridor is approximately, if I'm right, you can correct me, it's like 8,150 kilometers long, and it starts from Mumbai port via ship and sea vessels towards the Middle East, and the ships travels all the way to UAE port, and from there the railways go all the way from UAE to the eastern province where I live, and then to Riyadh, and then to Tabuk, and then to Jordan, and then from Jordan to Israel, and from Israeli port of Haifa you have ships sailing all the way towards Athens in Greece, and then we have roadways inside Europe, like it's connecting Italy, France, and Germany. So it's all the way till Hamburg, starting from Mumbai, ending in Hamburg. So it's a huge project, and it will take years to happen. But the optimistic side is India has a huge role to play. In fact, India will be taking part in the railway construction in the Middle East. In fact, American NSA Jake Sullivan and UAE NSA Tahnoon Nahyan and Saudi Crown Prince His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman and India's National Security Chief Shri Ajit Dovalji have held meetings and talks regarding the railway project. And I really wish the best for this endeavor.
I have a very interesting. I recently read something that in 2014, to power, it was assumed that India Middle East doom. What has changed since
then? Let me be very clear and lucid in this response. I'm not, to be honest, Tehmeena ji, let me tell you, I'm not BJP sponsored or financed by the Indian establishment, but it's onus upon me to speak the facts. Okay, so there have been a lot of initiatives taken by the Modi government about so many experts, the so-called experts and political scientists, said that it won't work. But the Indian leadership has proven it otherwise. Since Modi's political party, BJP, advocates for Hindutva identity and the Hindutva cause, a lot of people speculated back then in 2014 that PM Modi may cause diplomatic friction with the Muslim countries, as you mentioned just now. So, but it didn't happen. In fact, the relationship between India and the Middle East, especially Saudi Arabia, has gone up and up, and it has grown in leaps and bounds. So PM Modi and Crown Prince His Royal Highness Mohammed bin Salman have become close friends, so much so that the Crown Prince calls PM Modi as his elder brother. And you'll be surprised to know that back in 2015, the UAE was the first Gulf country PM Modi visited, marking the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to the UAE for 34 years. And then both the countries, UAE and India, they signed a lot of projects and a lot of deals, projects related to the ports, airports, highways, construction, petrochemical, technology, cybersecurity. A lot of projects were signed. And in Feb 2019, PM Modi, he broke the protocol to receive the Saudi Crown Prince, His Royal Highness Prince Mohammed bin Salman. And in Feb 2022, Saudi Land Forces Commander Fahad bin Abdullah made a historical visit to India and held extensive talks with the former Indian Army Chief General Narvane. So what I can see is that India needs stable and prosperous Muslim neighbors. But unfortunately, Pakistan and Afghanistan didn't prove the mettle. They fought among themselves for the power struggle. The history of Afghanistan is very evident in front of you. The way Afghan Mujahideen fought among themselves and killed a huge number of Afghans, which not even America or the Soviets did. The same pattern can be seen in Pakistan. So India cannot potentially grow with such neighbors. I mean, India cannot grow with the neighbors like Pakistan or Afghanistan. So India needs sustainable and stable, moderate and visionary Muslim neighbors. So the Arab countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, Bahrain and Egypt have offered the friendship and trust in the Modi government. So in fact, the Arabs needed a partner in the region. So let me also tell you that the Arabs, they respect Indians a lot. I was recently in a meeting with a top Saudi businessman, a very top Saudi businessman. He's a retired Navy commander and a writer who also authored an article back in 2015 by the title, Why I Admire Indians. So I was talking to him about this geopolitical stuff. So he said that Indians, especially Hindus, mind their own business in the foreign countries. They focus on themselves and their own well-being, and this is one of the major reasons why Arabs hold Indians in high regards. So in short, what I mean to say is that the Arabs were looking for a nationalist leader in India who can guarantee their investments. So obviously, if Arabs are investing in India, so then they need some kind of guarantee. So they can have trust in a leader who can be a nationalist or who is a nationalist. And if someone who is not a nationalist, then the foreign countries will be skeptical to invest in India. So India was also looking for a stable Muslim neighborhood, and the Gulf has offered that. So I would say that India-Gulf relationship is win-win for both of them.
Since you're an Indian living in South and are vocal about what do you what views on a growing partner, and what does this partner
As I mentioned earlier, that the Gulf and India partnership has been surging to the next level. We have seen that not only the leaders, but also the people-to-people connectivity between the Saudis and Indians are happening. The Saudis and Indians, Emiratis and Indians, Bahrainis and Indians. In fact, a lot of Egyptians are traveling to India to learn technology, to learn advanced courses. So the partnership is going at a very high speed. It's an amazing speed, and there is something which never happened in the past. The official collaboration between the research and analysis wing of India, which is famously known as RAW, and the Saudi Arabia's presidency of state security. So the Saudi state security and the India's research and analysis wing, they have started to work together on counterterrorism and financial crimes. Furthermore, we have witnessed the Saudi Arabia's Muslim World League chief, Dr. Muhammad Al-Isa, visiting India, and he also visited the Hindu temples like Akshardham, and he interacted with the Hindu pundits. And this has also brought an amazing sense of fraternity, peace, and coexistence between communities. And I would definitely congratulate you as well for interviewing His Excellency Dr. Al-Isa. So yeah, in the past 9 years, we have seen a new dimension in the Gulf-India partnership, and I wish that this partnership never breaks.
Since we are talking about Dr. also that Saudi Arabia is now moving towards moderate Islam. Is it a message for rest of the world to initiate change so that people in other societies live cohesively?
Yeah, this is an amazing question. Islam, I say that Islam in itself is a moderate religion. If you look back at the history of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he signed deals with the Jewish people of Medina. In fact, during the reconquest of Mecca took place, which is popularly known as Fatah Mecca. It happened for the sake of a non-Muslim alliance of the Prophet. So when a group of Quraysh, non-Muslims, killed a group of non-Muslims on the side of the Prophet, it broke the treaty, and then reconquest happened. So even during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, Christians from Najran came to meet him and asked him to donate state funds to renovate the church, and he granted. So I would say, unfortunately, after 1928, with the rise of the Muslim Brotherhood and Islamism, we have faced a lot of politically driven narratives that has brought Islam under question. And also after this 1979 Iranian revolution led by Khomeini, a new anti-West and anti-Jew sentiment started to grow in the Middle East, and it gained a lot of momentum. So I would like to explain this phenomena that my friend Najat Saeed from Saudi Arabia, she wrote an article explaining the phases Saudi Arabia has gone through. She said that Saudi Arabia has gone through 4 different stages over the years. During its establishment, when Saudi Arabia was formed, it was going through the religious nationalism phase, and during 1960s it went through the pan-Islamic transnational identity phase, in which they were promoting something called as pan-Arabism. Then in 1980s, after the Iranian Revolution, Sahaba movement started in the Middle East in order to counter the Iranian expansionist agenda. Lastly, now the phase which we are in, under the leadership of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, Saudi Arabia is going back to the first phase of nationalism, not religious nationalism, but nationalism, so that it becomes compatible with the leadership's 2030 vision. Also, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, he promised in 2018 that he would be bringing back the moderate Islam which existed before 1979, and we indeed see this shift happening at a supersonic speed. So today, I definitely like to mention this, that today Saudi Arabia is no more interested in the Sunni versus Shia stuff. No, Saudi Arabia is not interested in that. Saudi Arabia has removed the sectarian texts from the school textbooks, that texts that speak against Shiites, or the texts about the Sunni versus Shia divide. So those things are removed from the school books, and the texts against Jewish community, which were often exploited to carry out anti-Semitism. So this is also removed. So the unwanted cultural practices that used to be promoted in the name of Islam have been revised. So indeed, Saudi Arabia is more interested in preaching and promoting the moderate Islam. And about the question you have raised about the coexistence, see, I would say nobody is asking you to leave Islam or change the fundamentals of Islam. Even I'm a practicing Muslim, so nobody is asking you to change Islam. Islam have 2 things. First thing is ibadat. The second thing, mamlat. The ibadat are the acts of worship. The mamlats are the contemporary challenges. So the Quran, Hadith, whatever you have. So, or the basic creed of Tawheed, monotheism in Islam. This won't change. For sure, this won't change. But when it comes to the dealings with the dealings and the contemporary challenges, Muslims need to have a moderate approach. Okay, we cannot go with the my way or highway attitude. And look what this attitude has given to Afghanistan, Pakistan, Iraq, Libya, and Syria. We have seen what has happened to these countries. So you have to be adaptive, and you have to be frugal, and you have to, because you live in a society where you have people with multiple faith, right? So I'm not asking you to compromise on your fundamentals. I'm not asking you to compromise on your religious beliefs, but we have to be adaptive. Look at the Jewish community. They have a lot of strict practices like that of Islam. They don't eat anything outside kosher. They eat kosher food. Even regarding the women clothing, they have different sets of beliefs. But they won't come under this scanner because they give back to the nations they live in. So yeah, if we have to really prosper, the Muslims, if we have to prosper, then we need to have religious reforms. I don't mean changing the religion completely, but to be broad-minded, rational, and realistic while dealing with the society we live in. And we need to also keep in mind that we have not come in this world to establish a government. We have come to worship God and to implement Islam in our own lives first, and to rectify our own affairs. And we are not here to fight for the sake of some imaginary khilafat or caliphate.
Bringing the since all the leaders, why do you think the Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman didn't visit Pakistan?
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. Why he didn't visit Pakistan? Well, I cannot be sure why he didn't visit Pakistan, but there could be multiple reasons for not visiting Pakistan. The first thing is that Pakistan doesn't have stability. Okay, it has lost the face due to their own arrogance and bad governance. By the way, Saudi and UAE will not forsake Pakistan. This is for sure. They will not just forsake Pakistan, because if they do that, they cannot afford to have a new enemy in the region, and they're trying to build up the gaps. So they will definitely not forsake Pakistan. But unfortunately, Pakistan has proven itself to be a disloyal friend. Saudi Arabia supported it in every thick and thin, from bailouts to investments. Arabs did their best to keep Pakistan thriving, but Pakistan hit their own feet. And Pakistan has not been able to repay the previous loans. I mean, Saudi Arabia, UAE, they gave a lot of loans to Pakistan, so Pakistan has not repaid the previous loans, and it keeps going into the financial turmoil. And everybody wants to be the leader in Pakistan, and everybody wants to have wants to be in the government. So obviously, the Gulf countries, they want to have a stable and self-sufficient partner, not an erratic child. So apart from that, a lot of anti-Saudi and anti-MBS, Mohammed bin Salman propaganda operations took place during the Imran Khan rule. Their hatred for the UAE is also evident, especially for allowing Hindu temples in UAE and for normalizing deals with Israel. So because of these reasons and other reasons as well, the Pakistanis, they have some kind of hatred for the Emiratis, UAE. And Pakistan, it also promoted the Islamism to a very high level, and you even find the Islamist mullahs like Israr Ahmad, who used to say that Wailul lil Arab, destruction is for the Arabs. And you even find hundreds of YouTube analysts painting Mohammed bin Salman as someone who is changing Islam, and he is building the Neom city to welcome the Antichrist or the Dajjal. So, I mean, such silly things they speak. And sadly, such videos have gained a lot of views, millions of views on YouTube. And one more point here is that the Indians or the Americans or the British, Sri Lankans, whoever, they come to the Middle East, they work, they make money, and they go back. But Pakistanis have the problem. When they come with an attitude that they want to lay claims on the natural resources of Saudi Arabia. In fact, India's hardliner Maulana Salman Ladvi, in fact, I heard his speech. He used to say that the revenue of Saudi Arabia belongs to the whole Muslim Ummah. So obviously, when the countries like Saudi Arabia, UAE, if they want to host the people, they don't want any kind of trouble. So Pakistanis need to also understand that every country has their own decisions to make. So this pesky and interfering attitude won't help them. For obvious reasons, we don't wish bad for Pakistan, because India also needs a stable neighbor. Nobody wants Pakistan to be erased from the map, but Pakistanis and Pakistan have to realize that if they behave like a state, then everybody will honor you. But if you behave like a banana republic, then nobody will respect you. And yes, India has proven that it's a state and it can deliver what the world wants.
In G20, also Saudi established a public investment fund. Can you brief more?
Your voice is breaking, so I cannot actually get your question.
Am I audible?
Yeah, now it's audible. Yeah.
Yeah, in G20 meeting, Saudis have also shown interest in establishment of public investment fund in Gujarat. Can you please brief us more about?
Yes, indeed. The Public Investment Fund, it has shown interest in opening its office in Gujarat and I think in the gift city, GIFT. So Saudi Arabia is more interested to have its office, the PIF office. And by the way, PIF, the Public Investment Fund, it's a public holding company. It has a lot of wealth, a lot of money, and it shows that, I mean, if Saudi Arabia is opening its office, the PIF office in Gujarat, in the city of Gujarat, in the gift city, so it shows the relevance of Gujarat in the Indian context, as well as it shows the power Gujarat holds in the Indian economy.
Thank you so much. So much for being here with us. It was definitely a thought-provoking, intriguing conversation. Thank you for.
Thank you so much. It's my honor, and I hope that the viewers have enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Thank you.